We're doing it right out of our own living room, so, you know.
That's right.
What do you
That's
expect?
right. Like the Rage Against the Machine song, Guerrilla Radio. That's right. That's right. Hey, there it is. It's our theme song. That means the show is starting. Dublin and Devlin, bringing the dynamite. TNT, we're dynamite. Here we go. It's a Tara show. Oh, hey, hey, hey. There we are.
I almost fell.
What's up? Don't. I know it's very exciting time, but let's try to keep our equilibrium.
Just fell on my own 2 feet, right?
Yes, it's all about balance. You gotta balance. Hey, everybody, welcome to Hot Epstein Summer. Woo,
oh, man.
Woo. Raising the roof because Congress went bye-bye. They went fuckity-bye off to, well, the House did. The House, Mike Johnson is like, hey, kids, get in this ark with me and let's sail away from responsibility. Let's go. We're going to go hide away from the big, scary Epstein files. And when we come back next month, it'll be like they never existed.
No one will ever
wash it away.
Talk about it,
forgotten.
Ever.
Ignore those files behind the curtain. These aren't the files you're looking for. You think we're going to forget, Speaker Jesus Freak? Do you really think we're going to forget with this? Oh my God, make it. Please tell us that you're scared about the Epstein files without telling us you're scared.
Right.
They sure act weird for a bunch of innocent and transparent people, don't you think?
They're disgusting. They're disgusting. They really are.
It's so obvious. If you, I mean, honestly, even the most like culty MAGA person should look at this and go, this is shady AF.
They should be embarrassed. It just makes you wonder, do they have
any
decency?
Away. Run away. And this will haunt you. Like the ghost of Janie Godley. It will haunt you forever when you go to your golf course in Scotland, pedo Trump. There is no getting away from this now. And now there's rumbles that Ghislaine Maxwell will be getting a pardon.
She's being visited by the Department of Justice, right? But why?
So, they want to control the good parts version of the Epstein files, I think. And the parts where it makes everybody but Trump look bad, which will be a feat of technology beyond anything that we've ever seen, because we have photos, we have Katie Johnson's testimony that I recorded that is in it's on all of my socials. It's pinned on my Twitter, it's pinned on my Instagram, it's pinned on my Blue Sky. There's no excuse right now. It's on my YouTube, it's everywhere. On my Substack. There is no excuse to say that you don't know about Katie Johnson's testimony at this point, because it's been available on the internet for a very long time, even if Pam Bondi couldn't find it on her desk, right?
Right.
And if you're like, again, the lies that Donald Trump has been telling around this story ever since, like the beginning of this month. It's been going on constantly for, and they've done what I've called it, like it's like they all got on the Lolita Express and now they're doing this loop-de-loop of lies. There's a binder. No, there's not. There's a list. No, there's not. We're releasing them. No, we're not.
Yeah.
It's like do. Obama did it. No, he didn't.
Obama
Democratic
did it.
Hoax. It's
They're
a
throwing
hoax.
it all at the wall. Yeah, everything's a hoax, even though it's not a hoax, like the Russia hoax.
It's not
a hoax.
Not a hoax, because you campaigned on releasing them. You said in September of 2024 that if you get elected, you're going to release them. But now there's nothing to release. But now you only want testimony released that doesn't make you look bad. He actually said that his lawyers went through them and they were like, well, what we found about everybody else was real, but what they found about me was fake. Why? What? Come on.
Oh, wow.
He literally. So they're flagging. They're going to go. There are lawyers who are flagging all of the stuff about Trump and the Epstein files. And then there's my Senator Ron Wyden, who found among all of the Michigas in the Epstein files, wire transfers. 4,175 wire transfers from Russian banks with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump implicated in this international sex trafficking ring funneled through Russian banks. And like Al Capone, if it's the finances that bring him down instead of the raping of children, okay, still the pedo thing is going to stick to you regardless, because you're best friends with a pedophile forever.
I'm surprised it hasn't, though, stuck to him already, really, because he's...
I mean, it's sticking. Yeah. It's just like when like parts of it aren't sticking to him.
Well, it's just amazing. And
eventually
I'm sure
it all will.
I hope so. Because I'm sure you've heard the clip from Howard Stern when they were asking him about what his age limit or something, and he was going. He said, I don't want to be creepy. I don't want to go to 12. To 12? What about 13?
Who thinks that number?
What about 14? 12 is a little low. And who would even go to 12 when they say that? Because they were asking her was, yes, exactly. What they were asking him was what his age limit. I think that's what he was confused.
Do you have a bottom line? Is what they're saying.
But I mean, also,
how gross are you? Are you this gross? Or
exactly.
Are you only this gross?
But for him to even say that to think that 12. That's where you go in your mind. That just says that you have a very warped sense of, your preferences. Really, you're a pedophile. Right. Who thinks like that?
And here's the thing: everyone's acting like this is new news. This is not new news. All of these clips that are circulating now circulated in 2016, circulated in 2020. A lot of them circulated last summer after Kamala became the nominee a year ago yesterday. It has been just insane. It's been, I have to tell, Facebook memories can shake you to your core when you're not expecting it. And it was, my Facebook is going to be like all of that lime green, Charlie XCX, hot brat summer, heading into all of that hope that we had and all of the energy that we had and from my Facebook today, it was like this. How much money was raised on the call that Black women held for Kamala on the day it was announced? And it was this ridiculous, millions of dollars were raised, and then white women were like, we want to do that too. And I'm like, hey, if we all show up, there's a landslide. And so I shared that on my Facebook. I'm like, if you did not show up for Kamala, fuck you, I don't want to know you. Please unfriend me immediately.
Well, the 8 million.
Unfriend me immediately. Who didn't?
Right, the 8 million fuckers who didn't show up. Thank you.
And here we are. And everything she said and everything Hillary said has come to fruition. Everything.
That's right.
And now that they're so famished, which is a Yiddish term for all over the place. They're so famished with the MAGA crowd and the Epstein files that they made Tulsi Gabbard make up a fake Obama thing to threaten to arrest Obama over nothing.
Do it. I hope they do
nothing.
Go for it.
Manufactured.
Go for it, Tulsi. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like what I mean. That's the whole thing about they're digging up this so-called Russia hoax. It's not a hoax, and what were they? I mean, what was the basis of Tulsi Gabbard's threat? It was that Obama investigated the Russian interference. That was absolutely not Obama. I mean the Justice Department at the time and the FBI and the Senate, the bipartisan Senate committee that said that Russia interfered with the election. I mean, so it's like bizarro world. So when you're being a patriot,
investigate the investigation.
You want to investigate the investigation that concluded that Russia interfered in the election, and
it's just disgusting.
Go for it.
It's disgusting. Hillary Clinton was the rightful 45th president. Kamala Harris is the rightful 47th president. Elon Musk told you, MAGA. Elon Musk said, if it wasn't for me, you would not have won. Period. Bottom line is what he said. And Democrats are like, what does that mean? And I was thinking about this yesterday when people were talking, because you keep seeing the do nothing Democrats. Democrats are pushing back very hard as they can against the Epstein files, which is hard to do, enough to do when you have the minority. And there is a bipartisan push to release the Epstein files. There are big deal Republicans who have been very loyal to Trump up till now who are pushing for them to be released. People say that Democrats don't fight. I will say this. Democrats do fight. But they fight clean. They fight clean. Democrats don't fight dirty. And so you're used to Republicans fighting dirty. And that's what a fight allegedly looks like.
Exactly.
Fighting
that's
clean,
the problem, though. Mm-hmm.
Fighting clean means we're just continuing to use the truth. We don't have to dig down, right? We don't have to go low in this particular situation only because we're using the truth. However, this truth is so disgusting that you can't play dirty with it when you frame how you approach people when you've got this information. So the video that I keep circulating, where I read the testimony from Katie Johnson, because my take is that you can ignore something to read, you can delete it, you can ignore it, but like if you're forced to listen to something that you don't want to listen to, you're like, I don't like this, but I'm hearing it, and it's so much worse when you hear it. You know it. So I keep sharing it in the hopes that anybody will broadcast it anywhere. And the point being that you can't have too much information about this. You can't ignore it if it's right in front of you, if it's real and circulating.
Well,
and this is what MAGA doesn't want to know, but it has been out there in the world for so long. That's my frustration. And I keep tagging Democrats, like, just share this audio. Just stand on the House floor while C-SPAN is broadcasting.
They're not going to do it because they will.
They don't fight dirty.
Well, they dismiss it. They will dismiss it. And you've been experiencing it, because ever since you put up that audio, they just say it's fake. It's not real. It's like they're impervious
to file.
Right. But they'll say, oh, well, you made it up. And that, it's amazing.
I could not make up something that disgusting if I tried. Really. It's so vile and unspeakable, and just, I think about, I have nieces who are twins who are about to turn 13. So like, you just think about anybody in your family. Think about yourself at that age. Think about, any woman thinking about what those little girls went through. It is the unimaginable, and yet it happened. It's the unspeakable, yet we have to keep talking about it.
But it's a wonderful secret, though, isn't it?
It's a wonderful secret they share.
An enigma.
It's so great to have a special pal.
Right.
To share something.
Share your wonderful secret.
No matter. And it's such a wonderful secret that you want to call the Wall Street Journal and make sure that they don't publish it. It's such a wonderful secret that you
between pals.
You do everything you can to get Stephen Colbert fired because he says the truth about you, and now you're going after Kimmel and Fallon because you don't like it when people say true things about you. You can't fire everybody. You can't get rid of everyone. You can't shut down the internet. Like, is that what he's going to try to do? Because it's one of those things, like, you cut off our heads and 20,000 more are going to grow in its place. You're just strengthening the power of independent media by taking Stephen Colbert. We have 10 months left with Stephen Colbert. All he should do is invite members of the independent media on. Like, right now, he should be booking Jim Acosta and Joy Reid and Katie Fang and you and me and everybody who is, quote unquote, an influencer, your Brooklyn dads, your I don't know who goes on things like Hal and John and Frank, like Hal. Everybody who tells the truth. All the Midas kids. Let the Midas kids.
Hal and me. I'm just kidding. I'm only kidding. Well, no, I'm not kidding.
You and I and everybody. But
I just want to say me.
Kidding. Me. Not kidding. All of us who are out here we're putting ourselves out here every day in one way or another to make sure the truth gets out there.
Yeah, that would be great. Wouldn't that be great if they did that?
Did you see Jon Stewart?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so that's the energy. That is the energy. Stephen Colbert looked into the camera on his show yesterday and told Donald Trump to go fuck himself. Yes. Go fuck yourself, Trump. That's what. And Jon Stewart is right there. Go fuck you with a gospel choir. Singing fuck you, fuck off. We're sack up and don't bend the knee to this guy. This guy who blocked me on Twitter 10 years ago next month, that coward, that spineless, convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, Epstein bestie, you're going to be scared of him? No, you're not. You're not going to stop telling the truth about him, and neither am I. And it's like, I'll keep tweeting. Elon has me suppressed as hell, and Donald Trump has me blocked. So who am I afraid of?
Well, it just goes to show you that, his appetite, I'm talking about the baboon, his appetite for vengeance, his inability to handle jokes, to take criticism, to hear the truth. Is
Donnie Thin Skin.
Is indicative of the fact that he is fundamentally unfit for the presidency.
Right.
It's because, that's it. He can't tolerate a system built on dissent or accountability and an independent free press. So
Right,
yeah,
right,
and that just
right.
goes to show
And
you how unfit he is and how unfit they all are. Mike Johnson, every
right, all of them.
Republican
All of
enabling
them.
this. Yeah.
But here's a question, and this has been brought up before, but Depeche Mood in the chat bringing up the fact that J.D. Vance went to Montana and had a little chat with Rupert Murdoch
Oh
before
yeah.
the Wall Street Journal article
Yep.
came out. Trump had personally called the Wall Street Journal saying, you better not run that story, which is a weird way for an innocent and transparent person to behave. But J.D. Vance going to have this secret meeting with Rupert Murdoch ahead of Donald Trump suing the Wall Street Journal is a really interesting turn of events. Because what it says to me is J.D. Vance can't wait for Donald Trump to get the fuck
Oh
out
yeah.
of his way.
He's a devious
'Cause
and evil, cunning bastard. Yeah.
Peter PayPal, his gay Nazi daddy really is done waiting. He's
Oh, yes.
done. He's ready for Trump to be gone. They're probably very happy about that diagnosis about his collapsing
Oh
veins.
yeah, that'll be his
Because
excuse. It won't be that
Right?
he's
And
a pedophile.
You
It's
and
that
I
he's
haven't had a
sick.
chance to talk about that because that story came out on Thursday after we wrapped our show. And right as I went to talk to our friend Sherry Jacobus, who's going to join us in the coming weeks here on the Tara Show, but I was on her podcast moments after they released the news that he was dealing with this vein issue, that he could at any time throw a clot. He could die of a
Yeah, he could
pulmonary
have
embolism. He could
yeah,
explode his
heart
heart.
attack. Yeah,
And
silent
big
killer.
time. And because, we kept seeing the pictures of his hand with the weird makeup, and you and I at the end of our show on Thursday talked about this, and I was like, hey, you put an IV port in your hand, you're going to get bruised. You don't want people to know
Right.
you're going to put makeup on it. Maybe learn to blend, though. And I said, and again, and then what's interesting is, I will be the first person to admit when I've said something wrong because I'm working with the information I have at the
Yeah.
time. So I said at the time, there is no way they're going to tell us anything is wrong with him unless they really need to use that. And then an hour later, they're using it. So you
Right.
will not make any of us sympathetic towards Donald Trump. I don't care what you do. I don't care what's wrong with him. I hope he's very uncomfortable, and I hope he's scared as hell. And I hope every
Yeah.
time he tees up a
Coming.
golf ball and goes to hit, he's like, please let me not die right now. Or the rest of us are waiting for him to collapse. Right? So... But what Sherry and I talked about was how he equates being ill with being weak, and that for him to have that
Right.
information released about his health means that he's very, very worried about this Epstein story. He
Oh,
wants this to
definitely.
overtake the Epstein story. And when that didn't work, then it was Tulsi and the Obama bullshit. And then it
Yeah.
was Hunter Biden did an interview. So let's all fault Hunter Biden for what? Telling the truth about people who tried to push his dad out. Hunter Biden is still. You can keep trying to make Hunter Biden the big, your boogeyman, MAGA, but it's not going to work. Every
Well,
time,
yeah.
every time they would post a photo of Hunter Biden, it looked like one of those Herb Ritz '90s black and white thirst trap photos from it looked like an outtake from the Wicked Game video. Even when he had a crack, he made a crack pipe dangling out of someone's mouth look sexy. I don't know how he did that, and I don't advocate for that.
No.
And I'm glad he's sober and living a sober life now for sure. But you cannot Trumpify the Biden family, which is something that I said over and over again from the outset in 2020. You cannot Trumpify Joe Biden. You cannot pin anything that even remotely Trumpy on Joe Biden because he never did anything. And now you have to go back and look at 2016, and this Pizzagate that QAnon made up is all this Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking is
Right.
what it is. It's all every accusation is a confession.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's
still,
everything
I
that
still-
the Pizzagate and everything that they were supposedly uncovering with Hillary Clinton. It was all the Democrats were involved in some kind of international sex trafficking ring of underage girls and I guess boys
Right.
too. Who the hell knows? It was,
Children.
but
Children.
yeah, like what if you found we trace the call. It's coming from inside the GOP caucus. Kids, really.
So, Speaker Jesus freak Mike Johnson protecting a pedophile. You have to wonder why.
Yeah.
What's in your prayer closet, Speaker Jesus freak? What you
He's a
hiding? For
scum.
me, I think. Well, we think he's disgusting, and the fact that he shared that porn accountability app with his kid is sus.
That's
I
pretty
think it
fucked
goes-
up. But yeah.
That's pretty fucked up. I don't know with Speaker Jesus Freak if he's more worried about the pedophile stuff or he's more worried about the fact that everyone's going to know he's being paid by the Russians. Because again, that's what my Senator Ron Wyden uncovered. It's all of these wire transfers. And again, if what brings Trump down is the financial stuff like Al Capone, I'll take it. But then also the pedophile stuff is going to continue to stick to him. This is it. You know, like they can take a month off. Guess what? That won't make the Epstein files less real. We'll still be talking about the Epstein files.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse.
We're only going to keep it at the top of the news cycle because you're not going to be accountable. And I don't know what Republicans plan to do. I know Democrats plan to hold town halls during the month of August, as they normally do during a recess. My Senator Ron Wyden is going to be holding a town hall here in my county, hopefully along with my representative. But he's also trying to get Tom Homan to appear at this because Tom Homan keeps threatening to come to Portland. And we're like, try it. We don't need you here. It's all good. Like,
he's coming to New York too. He keeps saying, well, I hope he does, you know, because we'll give him a nice New York welcome. Yeah.
Exactly. He's going to go to all the sanctuary cities. Guess what's going to happen? You're not going to find sanctuary here, Tom.
And that's the other thing, though. I don't know if you saw, I wrote an article about sanctuary cities on the Substack, that this is what pisses me off beyond. And this, you know, we're talking about Democrats fighting. Why don't the American people know that sanctuary cities are safer cities, period? They have lower crime rates. It fosters a trust between the police and the community at large. And you can go by the numbers. Non-sanctuary counties have higher crime rates, and it makes sense because people don't want to. If you're undocumented and you're the victim of a crime or you are the witness of a crime, you don't want any encounters with the local police. So, you know, you stay out of it. So, of course, it's going to make that population more vulnerable to become victims of crimes. And it makes everybody else unsafe who lives in that community because your neighbor's not going to want to get involved. They don't want to, you know, get knock on the door and have ICE come and disappear them to an El Salvadorian prison or a gulag, I should say, concentration camp. No. You know, so the numbers are, and it comes not just, you know, it's reality, it's math. Sanctuary cities have lower crime rates. And why don't the American people know this? This is what I'm saying. So when he's going after...
It's a failure of the corporate
media. But also the failure, why don't the Democrats say, like, begin every sentence with that when they're talking about sanctuary cities? I've yet to hear that. Why do I have to write it on a Substack? You know,
that's what I said. Right. That's how they are fighting clean. They're not framing the issue in the right way. And if they just would front sell it, as someone who comes from the world of radio, when you hear a DJ talking about a song before they play it, that's called a front sell. When you have them talk it out, that's called a back sell. A back sell, people are like, what did I miss? A front sell is, I better not miss this. And so when you front sell something properly, it gets attention, like a tease before a commercial break, which is something else you learn in radio, like, hey, coming up after the break, the only song the police ever did this live, you know, just like something like that. You're like, well, I want to know what that is, so I'm going to stick around through this commercial break. So if Democrats were tweeting, and some Democrats do it right, like Jasmine Crockett does it right, and Robert Garcia does it right, they'll use more provocative language to frame their point to get the attention, which is hard to do in a world where there's so much information being flooded and so many accounts on Twitter are being suppressed, even with blue checks. Like, I'm still suppressed on Twitter, and it doesn't seem to matter what I'm tweeting about. It's like 4 responses, and Elon needs to unthrottle all of us. But
that's what it is.
But if you frame it right enough, it can trigger the algorithms in the right way, and then you're hopefully getting your information seen. And so, you know, like, I would like to see Democrats using stronger language around the Epstein files. They need to shock and provoke people into paying attention. Because one of the reasons I even recorded that excerpt of Katie Johnson's testimony in the first place is you can become very inured to something that's in the zeitgeist because it's been overused. So maybe people are getting tired of the phrase Epstein files. Maybe they don't even know what it means anymore because they've heard it so much, and it ceases to have meaning. Like if you ever look in the mirror and say your name over and over and over again until it's a meaningless word. What does it mean? I don't know. But they hear something over and over. Yeah, just it means solid and strong like a tower. It's fine. It means earth.
Just stare at your hand. Right?
Yeah,
no, just kidding.
I'm not saying do drugs and try to find the meaning of the universe in your fingernail, but
I'll tell you the meaning of life. Don't worry about it.
To someone who's living in your fingernail, dude. Anyway, the point being, if they framed it correctly and they were more provocative to gain attention, I think. But again, I think another way to do that is the Democratic press secretary, for fuck's sake, which is another thing that Sherry Jacobus said I talked about on her show last Thursday, and it's someone out there grabbing media attention away from the MAGA line of bullshit.
Yeah, and that ain't Chuck Schumer, honey.
And it is not a member of Congress. It is not a member of Congress or someone who has an eye on running for president in 2028. Pete Buttigieg, not that. Oh,
he's
and
not,
by the way,
he said he's not running. So let's forget that.
He
shouldn't run. I mean, nobody's going to vote for a gay guy, and as a gay.
You know what I think? Mm-hmm. I think 2028 is going to be a time where we're going to have to be very, very realistic.
Yes.
And very much, this is what and we can't put up a ticket that looks like the way we wish the country was. We need to put up a ticket that looks like the way the country was. I'm going to go ahead and say 2 white guys, but if you do like Gavin Newsom and Pete Buttigieg, this country will vote for a gay man over a woman.
Maybe. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Just like they vote for a black guy over a woman, over any woman.
Right? Mm-hmm. So this is when you have to, again, instead of being like Pollyanna about and saying this is what it should look like. Yes, of course it should look like. It should look like Jasmine Crockett and AOC, and I don't care who's in which position, because black women and women of color should be leading everything in the Democratic Party and in the rest of the world, but that's a whole other thing. If this country wants to be the final country on this planet to let a woman lead us, because oh my God,
we always are late to the party. Yeah.
Just what the fuck? We're too emotional. Please, have you seen the fucking
please
with the
Did you
ankles
see
and
the
makeup?
Fucking whiny bitch who can't even take a joke? The Stephen Colbert said the truth about me.
I mean, cancel everyone. What are they going to put in the place of the Colbert of the Late Show?
Nothing. Something that sucks.
The Reichstag speech on an endless.
It'll be like ballet, just like the fall of the communists of communist Russia. You turn on the television and there was the ballet.
Propaganda.
So
nightly marches. I put up a poll on Twitter, like, tuck in with Tucker, put Tucker Carlson and all these Fox people on the mainstream airwaves. No, people aren't going to watch that. And here's the point you're not going to stop us from telling the truth, regardless of our format. So you take Stephen Colbert off of CBS. Don't you think he's got the means to set up shop elsewhere, and he'll be more powerful?
And I hope he does. On YouTube or something.
He will. Because there's no one censoring him. There's no Brendan Carr with a pole up his ass going, you're not allowed to talk about dear leader like that.
Yes. And there's no doubt that is it's, because they've leaked this, so-called leaked, a document that said that he was losing $40 million a year, which is bullshit considering not just the, it was the #1 rated show. And that was all, of course, strategically timed to tamp down on the criticism, and but CBS, there's more to the value of the show, but they didn't even try to make adjustments on their #1 rated show before they pulled the plug. So don't tell us it's about finances when you don't even try to rectify the so-called problems that caused you to cancel it. It's not like you tried you exhausted every other option. You just canceled the whole damn franchise.
And I want to know what they think. And this is another instance of Republicans taking away something that everybody enjoys, and they're going to give us something in in place of it that nobody wants. So,
that's what happens in authoritarian systems.
Right. And so Democrats are going to continue to deliver the truth in alternative ways, just like we are doing right now. And it's going to take massive public support to keep it afloat. It's going to take people like Aida, who became a super supporter. Thank you, Aida.
Yes, thank you, Aida.
Thank you very much, because without people, I mean, again, it's like, they just defunded NPR and PBS, and they are funded.
See? That's for Aida.
So, thank you, Aida, which is a beautiful name and an excellent opera. So it is a very scary time for people who care about the truth, because the people who don't care about the truth are in power and they are trying to suppress us, which is why one of my things, we have to be louder than they are, and we have to be lifting each other up. And so that's why we invite someone like Joe Walsh on the show, because he had perspective about what Republicans are actually doing when they go behind closed doors.
Well, I want to know what's on their mind, that's the thing. And he's a decent man, so he's got a decent mind. Yes. And thankfully,
right, and he's so mad. He's so mad right now about this obvious running away from the responsibility of your elected position by letting everyone take a vacation early, because Speaker Johnson is not going to let them vote now. What are you going to do? Send Congress home forever? You're going to cancel the House votes forever?
If he could, see, he's doing it, and that's an interesting question, because that's really what he's doing every single day. Why have a Congress? Because he has completely abdicated the check and balance, the co-equal branch, the Article 1 section of the Constitution. He's completely abdicated that role to traitor Trump. So he might as well go home, because this pesky trying to find out the truth here is getting in the way of his dear leaders, I guess, power to continue to turn the country back to the system the founders fought a revolution to escape. And that's really what they're up to.
Exactly. And that's a great transition to that video that we were talking about, and someone mentioned it, and Jim mentioned it in the chat before we started. That video of Mehdi Hassan taking on the Circle of MAGA. Yes. And it is really, I've seen, a lot of the clips, and he holds his own so well.
He's amazing.
And the reason he's amazing, and the reason he holds his own so well is he's the only one in that room who has facts and the truth on their side.
Right.
The rest of them are dealing in propaganda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, right? He's like, this amendment, this amendment, this amendment, this amendment, this amendment. That's what I brought with me today.
Yep.
He's like, you just denied the Holocaust. Why am I listening to you? And there's the one guy who proudly claims to be like a fascist and a Nazi. That guy has lost his job from being in that video, and he created a give, send, go, because now he's going to try to grift the Christians.
Wow. He's got to feel bad.
Lost his job.
Feel bad.
Well, you know what? Guess what? Still, that's good. Good on the company that fired that guy. Because if you're going to get on camera in the United States of America and deny the Holocaust and say you're a proud Nazi and you're a fascist, you should lose your job.
Well, he did say that. Mehdi Hassan said that to him. He goes, you realize you're being recorded right now, and your employers and everyone will be able to see this. Because he said he's a fascist. He said he's a Nazi. And that's one thing. I didn't realize that because I watched the whole thing, and I didn't realize it was getting a lot of. And then you said that you saw it and other people were seeing it, which I'm glad that people had seen it.
It's really going viral.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that my Katie Johnson testimony should be getting. Oh, the kind of viral. That's okay.
Right.
That's okay. We'll get there.
What really struck me when I was watching it was that not just that fascist guy, because he was one of them that seemed to have the courage, at least, to name what he is. The rest of them seemed pretty damn fascist too, except they didn't, say they were fascists. And a lot of them were, what really struck me was that they were outright saying they don't believe in the Constitution, that they don't believe in democracy. And this is exactly what we talk about all the time. And I talk about it on my show, Tarabuster, and we've been saying it for years, that Republicans really do hate America. And there it goes again. They're not the patriots. They're not patriots in any sense of the word. They don't like this system that the founders created from, inspired by the liberal age of enlightenment. They hate that system. The nation of immigrant, the nation of laws, the nation that promotes the general welfare. They don't like it. And they're perfectly allowed not to like it, but that doesn't mean they get to change the system into an authoritarian state, which is what that guy, one of the guys, was outright saying. But they were all kind of saying that too, that what's so great about the Constitution, what's so great about democracy. A lot of them were saying this, and yeah, it's incredible that they're and actually Mehdi Hasan said to the fascist guy, well, I commend you for having the the courage to at least admit it. But
I don't think courage. I
think
they truly don't understand a lot of what they're saying.
You're right.
They're
they don't understand
what they've been hearing around them. It's like whenever I post something and one of them calls me a communist, I'm like, no, or they call me a fat.
Yeah.
Sometimes, well, I like it when they call me all of the things. I'm a fascist, communist, Marxist, and it's like, can you pick one? And which one?
Right.
Which one am I? And it's fat. I think that they just repeat all of this MAGA propaganda because it's easy.
Right.
It's lazy. They don't. The do your own research cult never actually does. Like the one that was that blonde MAGA girl who was like, well, my parents were immigrants, but now they're Americans. And he's like, that's like my whole point of this whole thing is we're all immigrants. You're not native.
Right.
You are not native. If your skin is white, you are not a Native American. You cannot call yourself a Native American. We live on stolen land. We all live on stolen land. That is a fact. White people stole this land from the natives. That is a fact. I'm sorry you don't like it, but you can't just tell the good parts version of any country's history. There's no such thing as any society that currently exists that does not have a very dark past. And most of that dark past is perpetrated by who? Rich white men. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, right? And this is stuff that we've touched on. Like, society has been full of hypocrisy since the get-go. Since, you put more than 3 people in a room, one of them is going to be a hypocrite talking shit about the other 2. It's just that I hate that that's our existence. That people talk out of all sides of their mouths, especially those who hide behind their Bible myths and they're like, 10 commandments. And I'm like, you broke half of those commandments this morning before you got out of bed. Like, stop it.
I know.
So
right.
If you're not going to live by something, then you don't quote it. So those people don't want to live by the Constitution. I don't know what to tell you. Get the fuck out of America.
Right, get out. You don't get to change it to the one where you vote into that's what the guy was saying, that you vote for Hitler, vote for Trump and make him king, and then end all elections, and then everything else gets scrapped. The Constitution gets scrapped. Oh, well, they did like the parts that they agreed with. That's the other thing.
Well, sure, the one that gives them the guns.
Isn't that incredible? It's come on, man. So weak.
They do that with the Constitution and the Bible. They cherry pick to suit their argument. So if you say to them, it actually doesn't say anything about homosexuality in the Bible. It only got revised after a bunch of white men were like, no gays, no gays. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, I could spend an entire hour just talking about how rich white men wrote the Bible to keep the poor down and keep them scared.
Well, that's why they killed Jesus. Everybody, here to tell you, he wasn't killed.
It wasn't the Jews, by the way.
It wasn't the Jews.
Not kill Jesus.
It was the conservatives. It was the conservatives. It was the conservatives.
White guys with the money.
Yeah, because he was cutting into their money. There was a festival. I don't know. You're Jewish. It was a festival where they needed to take a ritual bath, and they were getting paid. They were taking money from people that were coming to this town. And Jesus came and said, "You don't need a ritual bath. You're clean. You're pure enough. You don't need to give anybody your money." That's the problem they had with him. It was the conservatives.
It's always funny. The root of all evil, for real and for true. And that's why Republicans are going to be like, I will still collect my fat paycheck and actually not do the job the American people elected me to do. They work for us. That's what's so fucking frustrating. It's like, please pay me 6 figures to sit on my ass and do absolutely nothing. Please, please. Or any money so I can make my rent every month. It would be great because, again, when this is what this above all other things makes me so angry. You ran on a specific promise that you're not delivering on. You have chosen loyalty to this dictator, pedophile, criminal instead of the people who elected you, who put you in your seat. You want to be loyal to Donald Trump. Like you said, you want to hate our democracy. You want to choose loyalty to him. You want to be a feckless traitor who cares only about your bank account and him not writing a mean tweet about you. Quit your job today. You don't belong in Congress. You're not serving the people who elected you. You are not serving the Americans who pay your salary. We are your bosses. You're not doing the job. Get the fuck out. You're fired.
Yeah, but that's the problem. People keep voting for them. They keep voting for them because they're voting against, and this is another way. This is the problem. When watching those conservatives up against Mehdi Hassan, the problem is propaganda. That's it. They're being, and of course, successful. They're in their bubbles. Clearly, that's why that fascist guy, I guess, felt emboldened to out himself, because he's probably in a bubble where that's normal, right? So the problem is that people, and this is the thing with Colbert, because now that he's off, he will be off of mainstream or network television. Fewer people. Of course, he will go to a different show. I'm sure he'll make his own show, but
he'll
that's
be on Substack with the rest of us.
Exactly,
sure,
but this is part of what causes our silos of information. So you'll be able to access Colbert's opinions and the show. Ozzy Osbourne died. Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne died.
I could see it in your face.
Oh, man. Well, someone dropped it in the chat, and I'm listening to you, and I'm agreeing with you, but Ozzy Osbourne...
I know. I met Ozzy Osbourne.
He's only 76.
I know. 76. Well, he was very unhealthy, so yeah.
He was very unhealthy. I'm glad he got to do his final show with Black Sabbath. They recently reunited.
Yes.
And a 4-song set. 76 is not that old, if you think about it.
Not in this day and age, yeah.
Not in this day. Not when my mother is older than that. So, no. My mother's 78. But that's just wow. Last Saturday, my beloved Lobar Chorale participated in a tribute band festival, and a guy that looked and sang he looked exactly like Ozzy, sounded exactly like Ozzy came out on it. We all sang "Mama, I'm Coming Home." Oh. And it was great. It was great. And I kept saying to the person next to me, I'm like, if he doesn't yell Sharon at the end of this, it will have been all for naught. And he actually yelled Sharon at the end. I was so satisfied. It was a very, if you ever watched the Osbournes on MTV, it was a very like full circle moment. So anyway, for love and light to the Osbourne family. If you didn't have an affectionate feeling towards Ozzy Osbourne in some way or another, like, what's wrong with you? Like, I feel like he was.
It was my first concert, Ozzy Osbourne and AC/DC.
Really?
Yeah, AC/DC, Ozzy Osbourne. That was the first concert I ever went to. Yeah.
Is that the first concert ticket? Like, that's the first concert ticket?
Yeah, the first concert I ever went to was Ozzy Osbourne and AC/DC. What?
What year? At what year?
I don't remember.
Did you pay for that ticket? You don't remember?
I who remember? I was like 15, something like that. Yeah.
It's great. It's great. Like the first concert I ever went to that wasn't like, my camp went to see somebody perform at a festival or whatever. The first real concert ticket I ever bought was Duran Duran, Madison Square Garden, 1984, and the ticket was $17.
Oh wow! Yeah, no, I don't remember. Let me see.
I still have the ticket stub for that. I have a whole vase full of my old ticket stubs, and one of my favorite things to do is dump them all out, line them up, and see what I paid for a concert back in 1985.
Oh wow!
And it's just egregious compared to what ticket prices are
sure.
now. And it's just but the memories of sleeping out all night online for tickets so that you would get good seats and things like that. I totally did those things because music is my life, my friend. Music has always been my first love. Music radio, my first love, and which is a nice little segue, although it's not about music radio. Everyone who's in the chat, thank you so much for being here. I mean, we still have more show to do, but now that we've had enough time to kind of let a bunch of people join us in the chat, I do have a small bit of good news to share, which I let Devlin know before we came on the air. But I am going to be a fill-in host on SiriusXM Progress going forward, like an on-call fill-in, like when people go on vacation or they're sick.
Standing O, baby.
Thank you. For those who don't know, I regularly hang out with our buddy Dean Obadela on his show every other Wednesday. There's a segment called Bullbusters. And his producer, Matt, is a great guy. And a little while ago, I messaged Matt, and I was like, hey, how do I get to be a fill-in for Dean? Because the man eventually has to take a vacation. And he was like, let me put you in touch with the right person. And the right person and I had a lovely conversation. And then there was it'll be great. And I anticipate it starting next month or early on next month. Our other wonderful friend, John Fugelsang, is about to go on book tour for his book, The Separation of Church and Hate. And we were trying to get John on this show at some point very soon as well and get on his show. But he's got a Sirius XM show on progress. And so hopefully I'll be filling in with, not every night, because I'm like the newest one to be added to the roster. So there's a list of people who, but you got to start somewhere, and you build and you climb and you scrape and scratch and, starve your way to the top. And it's, but eventually, you get your voice out there into the world. And so I'm just so grateful for the opportunity, because being on the radio was always my favorite thing in the world. And even though I come from music radio, being able to have a conversation with people is really what it's all about, which is why we do this show, so that it's always sharing something that matters to us, is the bottom line of why I always enjoyed that. And it's what I'm best at. I mean, I was okay as a restaurant host, but I'm better at doing this, I think. Better serving my community and the world at large by doing this. So anyway, thank you everybody who's hanging out today.
Congratulations.
And thank you. But it's not going to start right away. And so that's why the Venmos are up on the screen, because the freelance lifestyle, it's a harsh realm. For anyone who is not a freelancer, your support, even if it's a couple of bucks, it all adds up and it all matters, because if we're not supporting each other in that way, this is the only way we're going to continue to get the truth out into the world, and we're not going to stop. And so there's us, there's everybody on the Political Voices Network. You can subscribe to the network on YouTube as well as the network Substack, and I hope that you'll take a moment and just sign up for everything, and make sure you're following us across the socials, because if our voices are being suppressed, we need to have you boost us. And it's about sharing all of the truth. And again, one of the things that MAGA is trying to do with this Epstein story, they think it's going to be just this revelation about Bill Clinton. And
if it is,
I don't think so.
So be it.
But I don't think so. I don't think it's going to make.
It's not going to be.
It's the fact being, and I think I said this before, but if I didn't, allow me to reiterate the point. If Donald Trump knows that his name is all over the Epstein files and Bill Clinton's is not, that he's acting the way he's acting makes sense. If Donald Trump knows that his name is not in the Epstein files, but Bill Clinton's name is all over them, why hasn't he already released them?
Right.
Wouldn't he have done that in 2020 when he was running for re-election? Because it would have made the Democrats look really bad for continuing to protect Bill Clinton, and would have made Donald Trump look like an innocent man. But he's not.
Well, he has a wonderful secret. Yeah, I mean,
an innocent and transparent person says, "Here you go. Here they all are. All I did was fly to his island. We had dinner, and I flew home." That's what Bill Clinton can say, because Jeffrey Epstein did have a real job. He was a financier. He helped people invest money to make money, so he could rape little girls and sex traffic them on the DL with some help from the Russians. And when I talk to Sherry Jacobus, she thinks that something that's in the Epstein files is a hard drive or a thumb drive that has video on it.
That must be.
Of Epstein and Trump, but she thinks it's a snuff film, which would be a very specific kind of thing
that's disgusting.
To think about. Wow. She was saying, what could be worse than a P tape? And she thinks it would be them killing someone on tape, whether it was underage or of age, either way. Because what could be worse than some hooker pee? Murdering a child would be murder.
Who? We would have heard a name, though. There's no one who disappeared.
Not if it's being suppressed. I mean, we don't. There are
Well, we know,
so
like,
many.
Virginia,
Yes, but
Dufresne,
there's
and
the names that we. There are the names that we don't know, but there are probably thousands of names we'll never know. Girls who were disappeared, girls who were hurt, girls who were murdered, girls who were sent away, girls who were trafficked and enslaved, whose names we'll never know. And it's the same story with Matt Gaetz. We'll never know how many girls were sex trafficked by him. We will never know how many girls suffered from Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and their friends who protected them. The Republicans were protecting them now. We probably will never get the full story, but I want Democrats to keep pushing for it, which goes back to, it's time to fight a little dirty on this. It's time to say Donald Trump is a pedophile. It's time for Democrats to say out loud, Donald Trump threw cash at little girls after he raped them because he refused to wear a condom and told them to get a fucking abortion. And if you can't say that out loud, then you're not someone I want representing me in Congress. You need to stand up and say it like this. You need to, and my senators are Jeff Merkley and Ron Wyden, and they are standing up and they are pushing, and they are angry, and they are not tolerating any of this, which I'm very grateful for.
Good. Finally. Well, the thing is, why didn't? Here's the thing: why haven't all Democrats been saying? Every time they say Trump's name, they'll say America's first convicted felon president or something like that.
They never could have.
They never say that. They never say that.
And then
that's how they should say it all the time.
They should.
Yeah, it's like this is the problem. And let me ask another question, as far as Mike Johnson, for example. Why don't the Democrats, and like I always say that when they talk about the Republicans representing their communities or in their states, they have to add the poorly run qualifier. Right. Poorly run red state. For example, Mike Johnson just fled home to Louisiana. I'm sure you don't even... A poorly run red state. Yeah, a poorly run red state. Poverty rate, one of the highest poverty rates in the nation. Ranking the lowest in educational performance. I'm just reading this off. Educational performance, ranking poorly in health outcomes, access to care. Now it's going to get worse thanks to the big ugly bill.
It's 40% of his constituents are on Medicare and are going to lose their Medicare. Exactly.
And, this tough on crime party, the crime rate in Louisiana is one of the highest in the nation, higher than blue state. Yeah, exactly. Persistent infrastructure problems, crumbling infrastructure from roads to bridges to public utilities.
And that's what Democrats should spend the month of August doing, is blowing up every Republican's record who is protecting Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah, and that goes back to why I think someone like Gavin Newsom should be our candidate in 2028, because he knows how to fight these Republicans where they are rather than where we wish they were at, which is, now it makes sense to me. Now I don't feel, he went and he challenged Charlie Kirk and he challenges these right-wing people. And that opened up the door to a dialogue of where we are now. Like, I responded, he didn't reply to me, but like, when you see someone like a Nick Fuentes who's pushing back against Trump on the Epstein thing, and he's saying that, and again, I'm not giving a Nazi a pass because I still believe he hates Jews, but Nick Fuentes is saying MAGA is done, Democrats are going to own the midterms, Trump screwed us all on this Epstein lie. He's very powerful. He's got a lot of followers. He's very influential. When Gavin Newsom takes on someone at that level, Gavin Newsom is showing the entire country, I'm not scared of MAGA. I'm talking tough. I'm pushing back. I know my facts and my stats, so that when Nancy Mace tweets some bullshit, he can quote, and like, she challenged him to a debate, which will never happen because she's stupid and she's scared.
Nancy Mace?
Right? She's so performative. And she just, whatever. Shut up. He tweets her, and he's like, South Carolina's murder rate is this, and your rate is this, and blah, 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 blah. So he would be someone, and he advocates for women's rights more than a lot of other men in our party do, in a public-facing way.
That's another thing when they talk about abortion. That's another thing. Why don't the American people know that criminalizing abortion does not reduce the abortion rate? It just kills women. And Democrats, that should be right out in front of the pro-life, pro-choice argument that, the way you reduce the abortion rate is you promote healthcare, education, living wages, retirement
Birth
security.
control.
Yeah. All
make birth control free.
Well, democratic policies, because the reason, the primary reason that people choose to have an abortion would be economics. We know this, and that the abortion rate goes down under democratic policies. This is indisputable. So, why isn't, it's like you were saying earlier in the radio lingo, why are you burying the lead, so to speak,
and you need to front sell your shit better. You need to create a better tease so that people follow through and actually listen to what's next, which is why I would be happy to lead them in some, like, get my own whiteboard and, like, here's how you talk about Republicans. Here's how you get people's attention. Because one of the things that people say to me over and over again is, you're very provocative and you're not, you don't hold back. And it's like, you need to push some buttons if you want to get results, because things don't work if you don't make them work, right? We have to be the energy behind, we're the truth, right? If we're driving the truth, and we have to be driving it with our full energy, and we are in a completely new way of sharing information, and politics has taken on a completely different style than 10 years ago. Because before Trump flung his loaded diaper all over our political norms, people on opposing sides were able to have intellectual and respectful political discourse. Wouldn't that be nice to have that back? To be like, I don't agree with you, but it's easy. And instead you have Scott Jennings screaming over everybody on CNN with nobody listening. I hate those things. Nobody listening to each other. No one being able to get a point out because Scott Jennings is screaming so loud because he doesn't want anybody to know the truth about Donald Trump. It's disgusting to me. We just trying to silence the truth doesn't make it less true. It just makes less people aware of it. And so that's why we do what we do. If I didn't care so much, I wouldn't be pushing so hard. And that's that's what drives me. Like, again, if the truth about a Democrat is bad, I still want to know. I still want to know who we're dealing with and what we're dealing with. I don't want to don't lie to me. I don't want to be sugar-coated. You don't have to, I don't need to be finessed. I'm an adult. I can take bad news and go, shit, well, that really, okay, well, where do we go from here? You can only sit with bad news for so long. You shouldn't let it consume you. It should drive you to make things better, not just accept. It's like with Jon Stewart. I encourage everybody to watch Jon Stewart's Full. It's like 12 minutes long, but it's worth your 12 minutes to watch, because he's like, no, when people try to silence you, you get louder. You say, fuck you, you're not going to silence me. You're not going to get complacent. You're going to sack up and fight back. That's where we are. And
it's all about greed, though. That's the problem in this country. Greed is the only value. There's so many things that are fucked up about America, and it's partly because of the propaganda. Really, the two problems really are money in politics and propaganda, and the corporate media and they're happy to have us fight amongst each other about bullshit, about trans people being able to go to the bathroom or not, while they run away with the entire, basically all our federal tax dollars. That's really,
I'm going to go ahead and say that raped little girls are more important than where people go to the bathroom.
You would think.
I'm going to go ahead and say.
Like we were just talking about Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace has, her state is ranked 40th in the country for child well-being. 19% of South Carolina children live in poverty, extreme poverty. They have low healthcare quality, high costs. They rank 48th in the country for healthcare cost to quality. They pay the highest rates.
I don't know why anybody votes for Republicans.
Why?
And let's also, as we're going out, we're talking about statistics. Donald Trump's approval rating is at an all-time low, and he only has within Republican voters,
Yeah.
only 17% of people somehow approve of how he's handling the Epstein thing.
Well, we knew this was
Only
going to happen.
17% of his cult. So I like our odds there, right? If the majority want the truth about the Epstein files, if there's a bipartisan effort to get it out, we need to spend this time that they're not in session pushing for the truth and keeping it at the top of the news cycle. That's our responsibility, and we're going to hold them all accountable. And so is everybody who watches this show and everybody who is participating in keeping our democracy moving forward rather than letting it die in darkness. Thanks everybody for being here. We
Is
appreciate
Rachel
you so much.
Biddikoff coming on the show?
I believe we have Rachel Biddikoff coming up on the Tara Show on Thursday, so make sure you are here at the usual Tara time at 2 p.m. on the East Coast, 11 a.m. out here. And then please be following us. Everywhere there's a social media is us, on the good side of things. I'm not on Rumble or whatever the other ones are, but I am on, as is Devlin, the Twitter and the Blue Sky and
yes,
the
everything
and the Venmo and the Substacks, and we'll just be here telling the truth all the time. So please tell all your friends to join us, and we'll see you soon.
I will be taking
everybody.
attendance.
Thanks, Jim.
All right.
Thank you, Jim.
See you. Thank you, Jim,
everybody.
for everything. I will see you very soon.